What's up, you guys? This is going to be definitely a different workout, maybe not necessarily a true follow along, although you could do a follow along. This is just going to be me kind of freestyling. I'm showing you guys a typical day of with me working out with this thing using no set rep ranges, no set plan. I really have nothing planned whatsoever. I'm just going to go ahead and do an upper body workout, just going off of feeling. So I'm just fast forwarding, also just kind of out of fun, just showing you guys typically what I got to clean up before I set up, because this is kind of a makeshift workout room. But I don't know if you guys will like this workout. I know some people have wondered and asked about what do I typically do if I'm not doing a set workout for you guys as far as set reps and sets, because again, I'm not going to the gym at all. I haven't gone to the gym in almost close to a year at this point. So basically, I'm just going to show you what that's going to be like on the fly. I'll introduce some exercises. I don't even necessarily have a countdown. You probably could follow along if you wanted to kind of pause the video at certain parts, but you can see the runtime. Total runtime of this video is about 35 minutes. There is pretty much zero rest period. There's a couple little points where I'll let the camera run where I'm just running and switching songs on my computer, on my headphones. But otherwise, this is just me kind of randomly going off a feeling. So what you'll notice is here, I'm just kind of starting out the exercises, put it at a moderate setting. There's no reason why I even put it at this moderate setting, but always a go-to exercise as soon as I'm doing any kind of random, as I would call this, like a freestyle workout for the upper body, is I just kind of grab the handles and start doing some pressing, some press variations. I'm going more to this incline press because I recently just kind of did this in a previous video. I'm just doing this for that rep range I like to kind of talk about, which is always in that 10 to 20 repetition range. As this gets higher, it goes a little bit lower, but totally everything is going off of feeling. Then I'm transitioning right away into bicep curls. Traditionally, and I always, maybe I've said this in other videos, I would always kind of save these towards the end of the workout so you don't pre-exhaust these muscles for other multi-joint exercise like you use in the future. Like I will do some back exercises. So kind of theoretically, if I were to exhaust my bicep muscles before I do some sort of pull or back exercise, it would kind of impair how much I can do with that. But really, this is just me going off of just listening to the music, knowing I had limited time. I didn't want to really consciously thinking about stuff. I was just kind of randomly throwing a bunch of stuff together, knew I was going to pretty much hit the whole upper body with a little bit more of a chest focus. I didn't do as much shoulders as I normally do, although you definitely will see some single joint shoulder stuff. But this is just kind of like an amalgamation of everything that I love and like about the machine. I've said this many times that for me, a big part of this machine is just kind of going off a feeling. Yes, I definitely think the workouts that I kind of structure for you guys is a good ideal structure as far as what I kind of put them together. That's kind of how I would traditionally structure them. But there's definitely something to be said about, especially for people that have a hard time just using the machine, just getting on the machine and just go to town on it, just start using it. As long as you're not butchering form and things, it's not causing you pain and you're not overdoing it as far as like from the previous rest session, like you could require some more days rest, then pretty much if you just kind of get in this machine, just start playing around with it. That's the biggest thing. That's why I kind of thought, well, maybe a video like this might be worthwhile to kind of talk about some of these things, or at least kind of showcase how I would use it. Yes, there's some, basic exercise science principles of like maybe exercise order, or maybe kind of taking some rest between sets so that you're fresh for another exercise. But you'll notice none of this, like I said, none of this is planned. I have no idea what I'm doing next other than maybe just thinking about it for like 10 seconds before the next exercise, before this exercise is actually finished. But I'll go back and forth. I'll kind of go back to some sets that I kind of already touched on, like you already saw me do this leaning curl. I'll do some chest presses. Eventually I'll kind of blend into something else. It also kind of depends on where the incline's at. So especially with a total gym, this takes a little more time to kind of adjust sets and adjust kind of settings with, like, if you're going to use pull-up bars and stuff like that. I forget if I even put them on there. I did use these handles, these separate set of handles with the carabiner clips, which I actually break in this video. So I'll probably do a video about talking about finding a new pair of handles, because this handles actually served me well. And really quick though, you're seeing me, if you guys haven't seen previous videos, I like doing this. I'll just kind of anchor another separate pair of carabiner clips with another separate pair of handles and just kind of use that as like my pull-up bar. I've been liking that because you get a little more of a higher incline. It just kind of feels a little bit different. So not that I don't use the pull-up attachments though as well, but I'll use that a lot if I want to like jump back and forth. I'm rambling, but that's where the total gym kind of suffers compared to the Weider Ultimate Body Works, which are a lot easier to kind of switch between sets. So with this, I'll kind of stay on one setting and kind of superset between exercises. But you will see me break this, I think, in one of the exercises coming up in the first part of this workout, where I'm doing some curls. I think I go single arm curls, and the metal bracket just kind of bends and kind of snaps off, and then I basically turn it into like a single arm row. So you guys will see some of that as well. Now, even though I'm promoting this kind of freestyle mode of working out, or just kind of jumping at it and going to town and working the muscles, I wouldn't say this is like ideal. I mean, anything that's ideal really kind of depends on, you got to get to know the person, get to know their situation. There is no one perfect exercise program, no one perfect set of exercises. all this stuff is kind of individualized. So for me, the benefit of doing a workout like this, part of it is also just, psychologically, I just like the way it feels. I love getting in the zone with music on, not thinking about stuff, and just kind of going through repping the motions. But on the plus side, the practical side of it, I think this is, really supports, muscle growth in the machine. A lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but there's been people either that have commented on my channel or just, I know in general, probably intuitively think this way. Maybe I did at first when I first kind of bought this machine and not using it as much as I used to, or at least the Weider Ultimate Body Works. They just think, you can't build muscle on this machine, and what we're doing here is just kind of a waste of time, and it's just kind of like fun stuff to do if you don't have access to a gym one day. Again, I use this predominantly. I kind of switched what I kind of focus on, but predominantly this is a lot of my home workouts, and I don't go to the gym, and I still think my muscle definition really hasn't suffered too much. But my point is, a lot of these high repetitions, high volume sessions with the machine, I think are actually really advantageous. Maybe you could say maybe it's just with my genetics and personally what I do, but I think with a lot of people, if you're looking to kind of build muscle at home, just getting in the machine, having fun with it, and just not worrying about a set number of reps and sets, but progressively kind of thinking about, if I just did an exercise, maybe the next set I'll progressively make it a little bit harder, or if you're thinking about the next session, it was a little bit easier, you can up the intensity. But odds are, if you're playing with this thing consistently, which is ultimately what I'm trying to instill in you guys, then things should kind of progressively get easier, and you naturally will start doing more reps, more sets, just maybe a little bit higher intensity than what you're used to. So that should kind of go without saying. The biggest thing, and again, repeating myself a lot, where people suffer on this machine is they either follow some set little program, which again, I'm giving you guys programs, so I'm not saying I'm like that contradicting myself, but they'll follow something to a T and it's not totally fitting, them or their body, or maybe basically I'm trying to say is they don't do enough work or enough exercise. And so definitely start where you're at. So there's where I just broke the handle. You guys just saw that. So I was doing these pull-ups, the thing just kind of snapped off, and I just kept it going. I went to a single arm pull-up, which actually worked out well, but that little metal thing is kind of hanging on a thread here. So before I get back to this in the future, I'll probably ordering another set of handles. I might try something different, just kind of mix it up a bit. But actually this exercise worked out good. So sometimes there's a benefit to just something breaks, you kind of go with the flow, and that's what it is. As I alluded to, there's really no cuts. You'll see me kind of just right away going to one exercise after another, and I'm just trying to think of, really opposing muscle groups to, not overwork a certain area. Although I will do some things that are some compound sets where I'll work the same muscle group and then jump into a different exercise, and that also works out pretty well. But what I find, the people that use this machine or they just buy it, maybe especially after coming off years of not doing a whole lot of exercise, they try it for a little bit and they don't give it its due diligence. But even with this or with anything, if you're coming off years of not exercising, it's going to take a while for your body to kind of get used to just kind of reshaping the body. I do think muscle growth specifically, or just kind of difference in size and some subtle changes, will kind of come fairly quickly with consistent use. But you got to give it its good due diligence. When I talk to people and they say, well, they're not seeing any results using the machine, odds are they're maybe not using it as frequently as they should, or they're definitely not giving it enough time. Like maybe like 3 weeks in, they're saying, well, I'm using it 3 times a week for 20 minutes and I'm not really seeing any changes. There's a number of little factors, but ultimately the biggest thing is, one, just give it enough time, but 2, are you really giving yourself enough volume? Definitely, you guys see me promoting things like, especially in these last few videos, that you can get a lot done within 20 minutes, but that's also assuming you're gonna maybe do some other stuff on the side, or you got some other, you've other workouts built in throughout the week, and also just total consistency kind of added up over the last, weeks and years. That stuff all kind of compounds. But don't get me wrong, I mean, you definitely can get a lot done in 20 minutes, and especially when I do my 20-minute workouts, I'm kind of jumping around fairly quickly with 0 or maybe very short rest periods. Even this one, some might argue 35 minutes really isn't long of a session, but if you actually were to look at all the total reps I did, especially with my upper body and definitely my upper limbs, my arms, just doing a lot of work from pushing, pulling, biceps and triceps, they're getting a lot of work because they're with all the reps sets and with no rest periods, pretty much no rest periods. You're getting a lot of work and a lot of just work done to your body, and that's going to be a nice kind of signal from the body to kind of change. Is this ideal for like building, raw strength, like upping things like your, max amount of how much you could, press, like a bench press, or, max amount like deadlifts, or just pulling strength? Not necessarily, but that's not necessarily what I'm shooting for. I do think though, if you were kind of coming off of, let's say, heavy strength training and you took some time on doing this, I don't think you're gonna falter too much. And the future videos, I will probably talk about that and showcase that, where I might go back to some barbell exercises and try and go for strength and just kind of see how much I lost. I'm not having any plans with anytime soon, but I can just tell you I still feel pretty strong just from some little stuff that I'll do, even with, you know, when I do a few exercises, when I mess with my dumbbells, my power blocks, which I haven't done recently, but I actually plan on getting back into those as well. I think you kind of maintain that strength by even doing some of these higher volume, higher reps, even shorter rest periods exercises. And the other thing is just stick to exercises that feel good. I mean, this is kind of, I almost call this like a greatest hits of exercises that I love. These are all the favorite upper body exercises that I like to do, and then even some new ones. I don't usually do this one, but sometimes I will do this by myself. I'll just do this kind of loop around, like kind of lat pull down, pull over type thing. But everything you're seeing here are all exercises that feel really good in my muscles. So there's nothing that I do. If there's something you see that's like a basic exercise, you might even see it like that came with like one of the exercise pictures in your gym, or your, you know, like your little booklet of your Weider Ultimate Body Works or your Total Gym. If I'm not doing it, I probably just don't like it. In fact, this is an example too, right here, these flies. On the Weider Ultimate Body Works, I didn't do a whole lot of flies because I just didn't feel them as much. I had to sit back really far back in the machine and put it at really low incline so that it wasn't too strenuous with my shoulders. Here, this just because the way this machine's built and the play I got with the sled, flies feel really good, so I started doing more of them. So I'm just trying to say that, you know, don't do exercises that you feel like you're not getting anything out of. Even if it's something you saw on one of my videos or something else, even if it's like that came with the book. There's a lot of things that I just sometimes for fun, I'll look at the old Total Gym videos. I haven't done this in a long time, but a while ago I just started messing around. I was just looking at the old Chuck Norris videos, and they're fun to watch. But a lot of those exercises, I just feel like I personally wouldn't get a whole lot out of them, at least the way that they were kind of doing them. Not that they're necessarily bad exercises, but again, with that being said, at the end of the day, if you got this machine sitting at home and you're wondering why it's not working, bad exercise or good exercise or one that you feel or don't feel, it's not going to give you any result if you're not using it. So there's plenty of people, whether that's going to the gym with a machine or even this, that can get good results even with like really poorly, you know, bad form or stuff that just looks like it wouldn't necessarily work the body. But if you just do anything consistently, especially with repetitions and sets, and you do that for a period of weeks and months, years, your body is going to have to adapt. It's going to change. So that's kind of what I'm getting at with just getting on the machine. I always tell people, you know, try and touch the machine every so often. That's just me of saying, you know, get on the machine and, you know, just start playing with it once in a while. This machine is really easy at doing that. Actually, that saying goes back, like I think that's like an old barbell saying that's like, at least just touch the bar and that's a win. I tell that to coach that to people a lot if they just have a hard time with exercise consistency. I said, you know, the biggest battle is just, if it's in your basement, going down to the basement and just starting doing a few reps, or if it's just getting to the gym, just walking, stepping foot in the door. And that's where I think this machine, compared to other machines and devices, especially in the home, really shines. It's not that I don't like training with my dumbbells, or I don't like using bands, or even my FREESTYLE squat rack there with my suspension trainer, do some TRX stuff. It's just that this is so inviting with that swaying and just like the funness of just kind of pulling yourself up and down on this little sled, that even as tired as I am, like even this day I had limited time to do stuff, just getting on the machine and doing stuff is fun. Before I forget though, this is an exercise I've been loving, guys. I just started doing this recently in the last video. I forget what I call these, maybe T pull downs. It's just another version of a lat pull down. I'm thinking about my lats. You're not getting exactly the same angle, you're not getting as high, but you're doing this shoulder adduction that's basically working your lats. So that's a good exercise I've been liking for interchanging between pullovers or back exercises. But I just talked to someone recently who was just saying, you know, they bought the machine and they have the same kind of similar ideas or similar thoughts, that this compared to other things they have in the house, it's a lot easier to kind of jump on and do some exercises. Where I used to think back in the day, you know, when I hear people that train from home, and this is like during like the P90X phase, like when Beachbody was really big, where people are buying like Insanity and those other programs. Not that those are bad things, you couldn't get results, but I always tell people it takes a good disciplined person to do that same workout over and over again, especially one that's that intense and that hard, as a lot of them are. Like me personally, I don't think my wife had that series, and I would do a few of those. I didn't really want to repeat those because I didn't really find those fun. They were always kind of grueling. Some people like stuff that's just kind of grueling. I like stuff that just kind of gets me in the zone and has you kind of work hard without even thinking about it. And that's, I always thought that way with just bodybuilding. You can call bodybuilding maybe kind of easier compared to like powerlifting, but it's definitely more, I think definitely more inviting. I would say, yeah, it's an easier type of working out, but if you watch someone in the gym, if they're working out with you and you're used to doing something like bodybuilding type exercises for many years, they're going to be worked out pretty quickly. Like, well, it seems like you're doing a lot of hard work, but really you're just used to doing a lot of volume over a good period of time. This one, guys, I haven't showed this one in a long time. Definitely be careful with this one. I've always say this. I don't show it as much just because I feel like people, you know, it might be dangerous for some people. You can see how easy it was for me to hop up here. In fact, it's very easy on this machine compared to the Weider Ultimate Body Works, which would kind of shake and had a lower, kind of a narrow frame. But I love that exercise, but definitely do that at your own risk. That's with anything in this channel, guys. Do everything at your own risk. This is just me showing my workouts, but I actually love doing that exercise. I stand on the machine and kind of do that low press. That's one of the few exercises with 2 cables that actually gives me enough intensity, because sometimes if I do a lot of rows or various variations with rows with 2 hands, it doesn't really feel that challenging just because of the angle. So when I stand up like that, I really feel that it really feels like a good double cable, like, you know, row that you'd feel at the gym. So now you can see me just, if you guys have noticed about the video, I'll just kind of raise the incline or mess with the incline up or down, and then I just kind of chain exercises together based on where they're at. Like I said, I tried not to edit. There's one part where I edited it because I had to go grab something on my computer, send an email that was like, you know, probably a minute, but I'm gonna leave some of these edits in. I am curious, I don't know if how many of you guys are even listening to this. I know this is such a ranting session, so forgive me. I always get people on both spectrums that say they want me to add more stuff, and some people that I'm sure just want me to shut up and just show the exercises. This is just one exception video where I'm just gonna let myself rant so I can just show you guys just a randomness workout. Again, these are the ones I'd like to do. These are the ones I probably, even though people ask too, like, do I do upper body days or single joint days or body part splits? I used to mix it up. I was doing a lot of total body days for a while. You can see me try something new there that didn't work out. I'll do single, I'll do body parts, I'll do total body. I used to kind of do total body. I've been getting more into splits, but if I was not recording for you guys, I probably, just because out of, you could call it maybe laziness, but I would just say just out of interest and maybe fun and just saves time, I'd probably be doing a lot of these types of workouts, or maybe I would do it upper and lower and just do it like this. And in fact, I want to say when I first started messing around on this machine again with the Weider Ultimate Body Works, that's pretty much what I was doing like an upper lower. I would get on this thing and just play around with stuff and just mess. In fact, that was my schedule. I would do an upper lower. The only thing I would change up is on my upper days I would stress more shoulders, and some days I would stress more chest. But I would always combine with, on the upper days, all the arms and back muscles and pulling as well. So this would be pretty much what I'd be doing. So I'm not just showing this as like a distinct different workout. Since I started recording more videos for you guys, I've been kind of getting away from this, but this is the stuff, like I said, that I just think is fun and interesting. So if you take nothing away from this video, it's that don't worry, even though programs are awesome, and I write programs for people, I think they're good to have a foundation. Sometimes if you're just tired, you've limited time, just jump in the machine, do some exercise that you feel work good, and don't worry about it. And I think that's ultimately what I'm trying to get across in this video. And if you do choose to do exercises like this or workouts like this, where you just have an upper and lower, like I said, you're not really thinking about it too much, you're just kind of focusing on what feels good and kind of going back and forth between that, definitely be mindful of, I would say, the rest days are a variable you definitely want to consider. If you're doing as much work as I'm doing here, as much sets and reps like as I'm doing here, especially considering all the body parts you're hitting, or I should just say the total stress you're placing definitely just upon the arms themselves with pushing and pulling and the biceps and tricep exercises, definitely give yourself, you're going to need a solid 2 days rest. But this can kind of add up. So if I was doing this, I think it wasn't my original plan for you guys, at least the original one I've ever showcased to you guys before, was basically, it was 4 days of using this machine. It was 2 days upper and 2 days lower. And I would say the lower days, you can't do as many creative exercises. I wouldn't do as many exercises for sure. It would look something like I showed you guys in the previous workout, where you just see my, I think I called it like simple but hard leg workout, where I just pick a few, maybe 3 exercises of legs, and I'll just kind of rotate between that. I'm definitely going to be running around between different exercises, but in some days, those lower body days will just turn into kind of cardio days, or I should say rowing days. But that's kind of just basically be mindful of overdoing it, because especially if you're older, a lot of this repetition on your shoulders and elbows, if you're not mindful of this can kind of creep up on you, especially if you have any kind of previous pain. But that just kind of goes without saying. It's kind of common sense that you guys just thinking about stuff that kind of hurts you or feels good on you. But I will say with this, really, with all these things, there's no pain whatsoever I feel with these machines. When I start playing with heavier weights, I kept my heavy dumbbells, it's not that I'm feeling pain, but I feel that more so where things might feel kind of a little more aggressive on the joints, so I don't push it too much with the dumbbells too much. Even the bands, I would say, can sometimes cause some kind of aggravate my joints sometimes. But this machine, doesn't seem to do that. It really seems to put the tension in all the right places, and in this case I'm talking like the muscles and not directly on the joints, which is why again I love this machine. I always think I'm talking out loud here. You guys probably think I'm like I'm not getting like repped by any of these companies. I just genuinely just been falling in love with this machine, if you guys haven't noticed. So I am planning on taking a little break with some of these exercises, some of the machine, just because I want to just start playing with some other stuff in my house and kind of showing you guys that. But anyways, I do love this machine, especially for these types of workouts. That's it, guys. I could talk on and ramble another 15 minutes to let this video kind of play out, but that's not really my intention totally. I thought you guys just kind of wanted to showcase what I do on a random freestyle day of me not thinking about it and getting a lot of work done with, again, no rest periods. That was the other thing I wanted to say, is that really, guys, I wouldn't call this a cardio workout, I guess, by any stretch of the means, really, but you know, I basically am just working nonstop for 35 minutes, which you can't do that with everything else. And that might have something to say that this machine is a little bit easy, but I think it's easy in the right places. That, again, it stresses your muscles, doesn't really overly stress your joints and tendons and ligaments, but you can get a lot done, and especially kind of bust through a bunch of stuff if you just want to get in the zone and bust out a quick workout, quick but relatively, you know, hard and a lot of work on the workout. That's it, you guys. Any questions, comments, feedback on videos like this? If you guys want to see more videos like this where I kind of rant on certain things, let me know. If you guys want to see more freestyle videos like this where I kind of mix up the exercises or just change things up, definitely let me know. As always, feedback is helpful. I'm going to assume most of you guys aren't really going to feel this one, but you know, I was meaning to for a couple months just showcasing a workout just like this where I just kind of go through some reps and sets and show you guys a workout that I particularly like. So that's it, you guys. Thanks for watching.
I can't see if you're right here next to me. Something's wrong, wasn't it fun? Is it now we're done? You get dressed, I'm like a mess, and you tell me to confess, and you tell me to confess. Oh, I don't know what to say, what to do, how to make you see. This is nothing in real life, it might just have been a bad dream. You can run